Hello, puppies and kittens. Once again, thank you, Illyra the Free, for that little bit of wake up music. And how's everybody doing today?
I don't want to wake up.
Well, you have to. You're committed.
Yeah, I woke up this morning after being out late last night, and I remember thinking, time to make the donuts, which was a commercial that used to run in the 80s, but some guy always has to wake up early in the morning to make the donuts. That's how I feel right now.
I think you're still not awake,
At least he gets donuts.
Or am I getting paid from now on? Is that a new thing? If you want your comments read on air, send a check or money order to at Gonna Go For It. I'm getting paid?
Sweetie, you have 2 girlfriends and live in a socialist country. You're already getting paid by life.
Yes.
That's You're winning.
Okay, then.
Oh, right. Actually, that reminds me. I do have a somewhat funny story just to start off the show. So, back in college, there was a guy I met who was, he was like, he was this kind of like right-leaning Christian conservative, like libertarian type. That's when I met him in college. That was years ago. And we would talk from time to time. And the thing is, I may have caused this final state for him, at least in some small way, because we'd get into a lot of arguments. But I was able to convince him, even when he was a Christian conservative libertarian, that prostitution should be decriminalized, or at least legalized, or something like that. So like I convinced him on that, and then like I would slowly convince him on some other things. He became far more like centrist before he left college, and I just ran into him the other day, and he is now part of the American Communist Party. And I'm like, fuck yeah. He was handing out these bumper stickers. Like one was like end sanctions, another one was end US imperialism, release the Epstein files, like a whole bunch of stuff. Nice. Right? And I was like, oh, this is fucking awesome. Are you a socialist yet? And he was like, oh, I'm a communist now. Like I'm a Marxist Leninist. And I'm like, that's fucking awesome, dude. And I like to think I had a hand to play in that. So may or may not be true. But maybe one too many arguments.
You helped him make some movement. You did not predict the amount of momentum that he would carry. Which is fair. You can never quite predict that, but you did get him moving. So yeah, a couple steps in that are definitely to your credit.
Felt great. And I definitely picked up one of those Stop U.S. Imperialism bumper stickers.
Outstanding.
Awesome. I can't remember if I'm a socialist Democrat or a democratic socialist.
I'm just a socialist. So he's to the left than me.
He's to the left than me too, but I can work with that.
I'm social democrat, so all the people that want to call me socialist, nope, not quite.
No, well, I'm a socialist.
But yeah, not quite.
Yeah, because social democrats still work under capitalism.
Yeah.
It's just like more.
We kind of have to.
Well, that's the thing, though. Like under capitalism, the best we can do is social democracy. That's the best we can do under capitalism. But I think we should get out of that mold.
I think the problem is actually patriarchy, and we need to replace it with matriarchy, because the fundamental core value in matriarchy is that everybody gets their needs met. And then if you still want to be competitive off in stuff that doesn't kill people, you can totally do that over here for fun and not murder.
Okay. So any comments on Psalm 86? Before we dive into it.
Well, God isn't being whiny this time. It's the psalmist.
Okay. Oh, Alira the Free sent 50 RN Raw gift memberships. We're off to a quick start.
Oh, did they change the color scheme for this? For the gift memberships?
I think it's that you're just so used to only getting gift membership from one person. It's
what? No.
There's probably like a random color, but based on the user.
Well, it's the same because it's still Alira.
Yeah. But
I only thought these were green.
They're green for me.
What I'm getting is green.
Oh,
I see green.
Oh,
I see red.
I see red.
I see red as well.
That's crazy. Okay, whatever. I didn't know that they had different ones. Okay.
No, I
Okay.
think it's if different people do a super chat or a gift membership, they'll get different colors per user.
Tomer, relax.
Sorry, I just woke up.
Sorry, I'm being nerdy.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
interesting.
that's fair.
Okay. I didn't know everyone saw a different color. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you, Alira. And
Most in chat see
also-
green. One says he sees blue, but he might be kidding.
I've seen blue once before. I think.
No, blue is for the
Anyway,
mods.
okay, that would explain it.
I see
So-
trees of green, red roses too.
See, I actually got that reference.
Everybody got that reference. Oh, okay. Here's the thing. Psalm 86, God is not the one being whiny today. It's the psalmist, which is such a change, she said, ripping with sarcasm.
It should be noted that this is the only psalm in Book 3 that is attributed to David. And it seems like early scholars had a very negative approach to the psalm, which we'll get to.
That will be interesting.
Because it's yes.
What kind of weird power dynamic did David have with God? Because he always seems to be like lots of groveling and begging and bootlicking, and then often murdering a bunch of people and then feeling very bad about it. It's weird.
Okay. Shall we jump into it?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Please.
All right. Incline your ear. Oh, wait, you want a title, don't you?
Yes.
Supplication for help against enemies.
That's not it.
Or no?
No.
A prayer
Don't use the Christian.
of
There we go.
David.
There we go. Thank you.
Okay. Incline your ear, O Lord, and answer me, for I am poor and needy. Preserve my life, for I am devoted to you. Save your servant who trusts in you. You are my God. Be gracious to me, O Lord, for to you do I cry all day long. Gladden the soul of your servant. For to you, O Lord, I lift up my soul. For you, O Lord, are good and forgiving, abounding in steadfast love to all who call on you. Give ear, O Lord, to my prayer. Listen to my cry of supplication. In the day of my trouble I call on you, for you will answer me. There is none like you among the gods, O Lord. Out of all those gods, they're all different from you. Okay. All the nations you have made shall come and bow down before you, O Lord, and shall glorify your name. For you are great and do wondrous things. You alone are God. Teach me your way, O Lord, that I may walk in your truth. Give me an undivided heart to revere your name. I give thanks to you, O Lord, my God, with a whole heart. And I will glorify your name forever. For great is your steadfast love toward me. You have delivered my soul from the depths of Sheol. O God, the insolent rise up against me. A band of ruffians seeks my life, and they do not set you before them, but you, O Lord, are a God merciful and gracious, slow to anger and abounding in steadfast love and faithfulness. Turn to me and be gracious to me. Give your strength to your servant. Save the child of your maidservant. Show me a sign of your favor, so that those who hate me may see it and be put to shame. Because you, Lord, have helped me and comforted me.
So I'm sure you guys notice at least a few interesting things about this, like there is none like you among the gods, O Lord.
Yeah.
But it's
yeah,
also,
the polytheism is still hitting, and you know that's possible. It's possible that the other gods actually occasionally take care of their people, because this fucker sure doesn't. Also,
sorry.
It just reminds me of when I was in customer service one time, and there was this person who was being really impatient. There was this thing we had to look up. Like, it was just going to take time. It's just one of those things. And I was like, yes, and we appreciate your patience. And she was like, I'm not patient. I'm like, yeah, that was the point of my saying that, you dumb bitch. Obviously, that last part was in my head. But yeah, it's just very much like, oh, you're so gracious. I'm like, I've read this book. No, the bitch isn't. No, the bitch is not. But you know, hope springs eternal.
What I can't help but notice is we're still talking about a magic imaginary friend. We're still talking about somebody pretending somebody's there, pretending they're listening, pretending they're going to answer, who isn't there and doesn't do shit.
Well, don't you worry, because this one is the singular imaginary friend. Because, of course, in verse 10, we also have you alone are God. So it's this to me seems like kind of a recasting of, maybe like a little, later in time, kind of. How should I put this? As a I'll say I think recasting is actually fine. Where they took some older traditions and they have adapted them a little bit, not a lot, to kind of fit a new mold. Because, like, if you take, for example, especially in this section, 8 through 10. So you have, like, all the nations you have made shall come and bow down before you, O Lord. That would be a later idea, because like earlier, like I mean, like I'll say this, because would be a distinction between ancient Israelite religion and Judaism. And that's when you have that transition from polytheism to henotheism to monotheism. So it's like in there.
It does show the last role that the other gods played, though, which was to act as a foil, so we can have a way to praise our God.
Yeah, like if you remember Deuteronomy 32, 8 through 9, there was very much like this idea that, Israel was Yahweh's lot, right? That was his share, his portion. So you kind of have a recasting of some of this. Is like, okay, well, you have the high God who who created all these and then distributed them, but now here you have the high God position being taken, still have lower gods, so you're still in this henotheistic kind of world here, and that's why they get away with saying you alone are God. But something else I found interesting was a couple references here, and it's not directly to the wicked, right? However, I would say that there are some notes here that point towards you're still talking about the same group, because we have in verse 11, give me an undivided heart to revere your name. The reason why I think that's significant is because the divided heart is where they, were very two-faced. They were either unsure of belief or whatever, This came about later again in some early Christian literature, like the Shepherd of Hermas, where like the main enemy for them is this double-mindedness that people have that needs to be overcome. And then explicitly, and more so explicitly, in verse 14, you have, of course, the band of ruffians. The band of ruffians seeks my life, and they do not set you before them. We already know from other psalms that the wicked, their enemies, are after them in some way or in one way or another, right? But then also again, they're not exalting Yahweh. They're how they don't really praise or worship this deity is once again brought to the foray. So I thought there were at least a couple interesting things about this psalm.
It does seem to have more than one theology in it, sort of mashed together. And yeah, I mean, but that does happen to some degree with transitions. And this idea of, mentioning the other gods only so that they can abase themselves before our God, who is, of course, the one true God. And it does actually highlight one of the difficulties of a true monotheism, which is that if you have only one character, you cannot have a play. If you have only one person, you cannot play off those dynamics. If you have only one supreme God who can do anything, really anything, actually for realsies, you have no plot. It's really difficult to do with that. And the real world is messy. I don't even blame people for personifying natural forces and making gods. I wonder why they thought those gods gave a fuck about us. Like, we are not that special.
So should I start with the overview?
Yes, please.
Okay, so Psalms 86 is the only psalm in Book 3 attributed to David, which is somewhat surprising given that the end of Book 2 states that the prayers of David are completed. Moreover, the psalm reuses phrases from other psalms, which led to a negative perception of the text as unoriginal and secondary by early scholars. Thus, Tate notes that Kirkpatrick wrote that the psalm is a, quote, mosaic of fragments from other psalms and scriptures, end quote, with no claim to poetic originality, quote unquote, though he later claims that the psalm, quote, possesses a pathetic earnestness and tender grace of its own, end quote. Buttonweiser called it, quote, only a second-class poem, end quote, but defends its coherence, sequence, and, quote, literary worth in general, end quote. Zenger notes that A. Schokel wrote that the poem was, quote, of little personal inspiration and only middling artistic capacity, end quote. Dom called the psalm, quote, a collection of citations from other literature, much of it very late, and so a specimen of the average character of the Hasidim, end quote. And Gonkel said, nothing special on the whole, quote unquote. The perception of the psalm, however, has been more positively evaluated by scholars. Weiser wrote, quote, we are not justified in regarding the affinity of the psalm with other songs as the result of borrowing from other literature in order to mask the author's own incompetence. On the contrary, we are here dealing with a liturgical style which is deliberately used to incorporate the personal concern of the worshipper in the larger context of the worship of the cult community and of the speech forms and thought forms proper to it, end quote. Tate notes that this view has been supported by studies of the use of traditional language in the Psalms. Robert Alter argued that stock imagery, quote unquote, is the staple of biblical poetry, quote unquote, but it is often supplemented by poetic intensification and the innovative use of intensive imagery, quote unquote. Zenger writes that a detailed analysis of the intertextuality of Psalms 86 concludes that the psalm is, quote, an artful relecture of already existing texts, end quote. He writes, quote, the creativity of the author of Psalm 86 is shown in the fact that, on the one hand, he has combined conventionalized Psalms language in such a way that Psalm 86 appears as a summary of Davidic Psalms, especially the partial composition Psalms 40 and 41, and 69 through 71 and 72, which conclude the two Davidic Psalters, Psalms 3 through 41 and 51 through 71 and 72. And that, on the other hand, by adopting the Sinai theology of Exodus 33 and 34, he gives the psalm an overall horizon that then acquires further dimensions of meaning in the context of the Psalter. End quote. Terrian writes that while the psalmist may not be a skillful poet, he finds himself in a state of mortal terror. His prayer for help may be repetitive, and the rhythm is certainly irregular, but the composition suffers from highly emotional disturbance. He writes that other individual laments in the Psalter contain similar or identical elements, but this does not justify the judgment that this piece is only a collection of quotations. Regarding the dating of the psalm, scholars generally take a post-exilic dating for the psalm. Gerstenberger notes that psalms showing a mixture of compositional elements, superseding, as it were, liturgically realistic passages, and making transparent theological concerns and social structures of later Jewish community, must be exilic or post-exilic. Zenger writes that the psalms appeal to the forgiving and merciful God without any hint of a confession of sin, apparently presumes the anthropology typical of the late Old Testament period. That's it.
I have to say, as someone who has opened a lot of hymnals and lived through several generations of praise song trends, having repetitive quotations is pretty fucking normal. I can't remember how many pop versions of Christian music had I Am Not Ashamed that one year, but it was at least 2, probably 3. So yeah, there's a lot of quotation in worship music. And granted, if it has if some phrase has a liturgical purpose, that does at least make some sense. Anyway.
Yes.
Can we move on?
I think we should.
All right. Oh man, Psalm 87. This one's super long, guys. Really bummed out about getting this one. Of the Korites, a psalm, a song. On the holy mount stands the city he founded. The Lord loves the gates of Zion more than all the dwellings of Jacob. Glorious things are spoken of you, O city of God. Among those who know me, I mention Rahab and Babylon, Philistia too, and Tyre with Cush. This one was born there, they say. And of Zion it shall be said, this one and that one were born in it, for the Most High himself will establish it. The Lord records as he registers the peoples, this one was born there. Singers and dancers alike say, all my springs are in you. This is a very weird psalm.
Does your version not say Selah at the end of verse 6?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it does say Selah. Yeah, I just hate saying Selah.
Remind me, what does it mean?
Well, it's not really clear. I think the most common approach is a musical interlude or something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, what is he talking about with Cush? Cush is Ethiopia. Leave them alone. They already had to deal with white people. They don't need the God of Abraham. Freaking asshole.
I mean, to be fair,
they probably were trying to say everywhere in the world, and this is all the places they knew about.
Well, no, I think these would be like more like special places.
Yes,
Rahab and Philistia do reference specific victories that God is supposed to have had over enemies.
I mean, Rahab is sometimes considered an epithet for Egypt.
Right.
Yeah, at least
that is true.
Yes.
It was because it was the cosmic sea dragon, right? The chaos monster. So
yes.
They will often. That's how it's cast in the Exodus narrative quite a lot.
Yeah.
But
sorry.
No, because
also remember the prostitute or innkeeper in Jericho was named Rahab.
Yes, that is true. So,
Rachav. I mean, with a chet, not a hey, but okay.
Okay, whatever.
Similar.
Yeah. I guess technically a different letter. Okay.
Yes.
So,
sounds,
I will point out that to me the most interesting verse was probably verse 6. The Lord records as he registers the peoples. This one was born there. So I think it elevates the people who are born in these places, right? Initially, because like often you'd say, like back in the day, you would have like I'm just gonna pull up the ones I remember here, like Jesus of Nazareth, or Joseph of Arimathea, right? Like this is just how people were referred to a lot.
They didn't have last names; they had birthplace.
Yeah, or you would cite their genealogy, right? So
for example, Mary Magdalene.
The thing that exalts Zion over these other places is that God himself is recording these names. And the reason that actually became way more important in later years, because we've talked about the Book of Life plenty on the show. And how if you're really bad, if you're really naughty, God will blot your name out of the Book of Life. But
I fucking dare the bitch.
Right, yeah. But it should also be noted that in later traditions, like I think in I forget if it's second or third Enoch. So this is like way, way later, right? But there's a Book of Life and a Book of Death, and you have two angels recording all these names. So these books became far more literal in later years. Islam too actually has this idea about these kinds of books pre-existing, but that's a way too far out for us here.
We have comments.
This is mostly like comparing, like, oh yeah, even though like these cities are great and all, no, Zion's better because the Lord himself is actually going to keep track of it.
Okay, as Lilith mentioned, we have some comments. So let me see if I can pull these up. There we go. My Unfinished Journey says, hail Aaron and panel, and hail Dio and his holy mountain.
Hell yeah.
Then Shut Up Matt says, Lawrence, they were only naming those few nations because Yako hadn't written his song yet.
What?
Animaniacs!
Oh, okay. I haven't watched Animaniacs in so
Come on.
Yeah, well, they're right now they're only famous, I think, for that one remaining thing where they did all the countries of the world.
They started Pinky and the Brain. What we going to do tonight, Brain? The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
The only reason I know about Animaniacs is the woman on January 6th that they made the video of in the song of Animaniacs. They maced me, something like that.
Yeah, the Warner Brothers and sister were never as crazy as the Jan 6 traders.
So,
then Alira the Free sent 50 more RN Raw gift memberships so that we're up to 100. So,
I wanted to comment about the mention of Kush. So Tate writes that Kush represents distant foreign peoples. Kush is usually taken to refer to the Nubian kingdom, located along the Nile River south of Egypt, though the term is not strictly defined and is used for the Kassites in Genesis 2:13 and 10:8, who lived in what is modern Kurdistan, a mountain area east of Babylonia. It is probably a mistake to use Kush for modern Ethiopia. Septuagint has Aethiopon, I think, in Psalms 87:4, which is properly burnt faces, people with dark sunburnt skin, and could refer to any southern land. All these people will be assigned the birthright to the people of Zion.
Yeah. Cush is translated as into Greek as this word, and then that word was later given to like what we call Ethiopia.
Yes.
Which it's not its local name, you know, it's a Greek name that was given to them. Just like Egypt is a Greek name, right?
I think so.
Is Egypt a Greek name?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Didn't know that. Cool.
Yeah.
Aegyptos.
Yeah, I think ancient Egypt would have been. Did they call the land Kemet or something like that? Kemet.
Yes.
So yeah, there
Kemet.
was
Yeah.
Kemet, and then there was
Yeah, that's another name.
shit, the other
isn't
one.
there?
They had two because they had Upper and Lower Egypt and different names
Yeah,
for
yeah.
it.
Right, and then modern Egypt uses Arabic, which has a word name that comes from the Bible. Pretty much, it's the same word, like Mitzrayim, or in Hebrew, like Masr, or something like that in Arabic.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the ancient.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to make
No,
a
no,
joke.
please.
No, I was just going to say, you know, the medieval kings would use Latin to try and sound pretentiously, you know, sophisticated, and the ancient Romans would use Greek to try and sound sophisticated rather than Latin. So, you know, giving everyone a name in whatever the passion of the day dictates is the sophisticated language is kind of a thing. That's where a lot of our scientific names come from. Same thing with Latin.
Using
and
Latin.
whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly to be pretentious.
Mm.
But I mean,
Yeah,
I suppose it's better than a Bodie McBoatface situation.
Yeah. Like in China, they have a very good system because they can use like characters for both sound and meaning. They can, you know, when you give them, if they want to create a name for an animal that they've never seen before, for example, a quokka, then instead of using just the sound, they can actually give it a name that tells you what it is. So like you tell an English person, oh, there's an animal. Have you ever heard of a coati or whatever? You'd be like, I don't know what that is. But if if you tell a Chinese person, they'll literally describe what it is in the name, and that works for scientific names and
That would.
geological periods, all of these things. Like instead of using Latin and Greek, that you have to like look up what does it mean sometimes. Like that, everything kind of makes sense. Quite interesting.
So anybody who doesn't know, a quokka is a variant of kangaroo. It looks like a little rat, but it is actually a kangaroo, and they have they just have a natural smile, and they're super friendly. They don't know to be afraid of humans, so they'll just stand there and you can walk up and pet them.
Yeah.
I've seen videos of them. They're so adorable.
The Mandarin name for a quokka is short-tailed, short pocket mouse, and a pocket mouse is a kangaroo.
A pocket mouse.
Yeah.
That too is adorable.
Okay.
Daishu is a kangaroo because it's
all right.
It has a pocket.
It does indeed have a pocket.
Yeah,
but they're really tiny. It doesn't look like a kangaroo. It does look more like a smiling, happy rat.
They're adorable. I've seen videos. They're so fucking cute.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, moving on. Are we ready to go to the next chapter?
No, I have an overview. Okay.
And a comment,
so
especially
Psalms
for
87
you,
is
Tomer.
Sorry.
And a comment, especially for you. In the private
chat. So wait. So my unfinished sock says, don't conflate Dio songs. Like and share the stream instead. And Invader Zim Lost and Found says, Tomer, I'm planning on making an entertaining Bible reading, but I don't have good commentary. May I use your commentary and link this series as a source? Thank you.
I mean, I think you can. I usually, there is a bibliography at the description of the sources that I use. So you can use that, or you can use the summary of the summary that I bring, at least. Because I see what I do as like providing a collection of the commentaries, not an original commentary that I have for the Bible. So
I think a link is a great idea. You do a lot of work
Yes.
compiling different sources, Tomer, and I think people appreciate that. And also, it's a
don't
lot of
mind.
work to dig up that many books, depending where you're at, especially. So, anyway,
Yeah, I really don't mind. You can do it.
so do you want to give us commentary so I can read the
Yes,
next
yes.
psalm?
Yes. So Psalms 87 is taken by scholars to be part of these songs of Zion, though the difficulty of the text is noted by most commentators. Although emendations and rearrangements of the text have been proposed, the general tendency is to follow the reading of the Masoretic text and understand that there is some corruption to the text. Regarding the genre, Gerstenberger takes the psalm as an admission pronouncement, quote unquote, and that it had the special function of clarifying the admission of foreigners to Jerusalem. Zenger notes that scholars have interpreted Psalms 87 in terms of the Jews of the diaspora, according to Dum, in terms of Jews and proselytes in the diaspora, according to Gunkel, in terms of proselytes throughout the world, according to Kittel, in terms of the eschatological conversion of the nations, according to Deisler. He favors taking Psalms 87 as a poetic presentation of Yahweh's special love for Zion. The dating of the psalm is uncertain, with Goldingay noting that opinions vary from the United Monarchy to the Hellenistic period. Terrier notes that several scholars have suggested that this poem emerged from the nascent sect of the Samaritans or from the Jewish community of Qumran. He writes, however, that no convincing evidence for either conjecture is available. Gerstenberger suggested that the psalm was probably part of a worship liturgy during the initial stages of some feasts held regularly in Jerusalem. Tate notes that the failure to mention Assyria as a part of the nations is striking, and may point to a time after 610 BCE, when Assyria was no longer a major power. On the other hand, the similarity of the content of the psalm with a series of passages which envision aspect for Zion may point to a kind of utopian strand of theology and expectation in the early post-exilic period. Zenger writes that Psalms 87 presents a post-exilic new version of the pre-exilic Zion theology, and that it is possible that the psalm was composed individually for its present literary context in the Psalter. He writes that with the astonishing openness in which it sees the relationship of the nations to Israel, it could on the one hand be taking up positive experiences from the Persian epoch, but on the other hand it could also be taken as an eschatological utopian project that stands against these shattering experiences resulting from the collapse of the Persian Empire, or perhaps the later fall of Alexander's empire. Thus, Zenger suggests a period of origin between 500 to 300 BCE. That's it. Lilik, you're muted.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks. I found that. I was going to say, where's our Lord and Savior Ra? But here he comes. And now we go to Psalms 88, a psalm of the sons of Korah for the director of music, according to Mahalath Lenath, a maskil of Herman the Ezrahite.
Yeah.
How many titles does one psalm need?
I think that's the most title a psalm has in the Psalms.
I hope so.
And who's the director of music?
Director of music?
Yeah.
Whoever's willing to put in that much overtime for so little pay.
Whoever has the tambourine.
No, the tambourine is what you give to the person you don't want singing. Oh Lord, the God who saves me. Day and night I cry out before you. You wish. May my prayer come before you. Turn your ear to my cry. For my soul is full of trouble, and my life draws near the grave, and I am counted among those who go down to the pit. I am like a man without strength. I am set apart with the dead, like the slain who lie in the grave, whom you remember no more, who are cut off from your care. You have put me in the lowest pit, in the darkest depths. Your wrath lies heavily upon me. You have overwhelmed me with all your waves. Selah. You have taken me from my closest friends and made me repulsive to them. I am confined and cannot escape. My eyes are dim with grief. I call to you, O Lord, every day. I spread out my hands to you. Do you show your wonders to the dead? Do those who are dead rise up and praise you? Selah. Is your love declared in the grave, your faithfulness in destruction? Are your wonders known in the place of darkness? Or your righteous deeds in the land of oblivion? Now available remastered. But I cry to you for help, O Lord. In the morning my prayer comes before you. Why, O Lord, do you reject me and hide your face from me? From my youth I have been afflicted and close to death. I have suffered your terrors and am in despair. Your wrath has swept over me. Your terrors have destroyed me all day long. They surround me like a flood. They have completely engulfed me. You have taken my companions and loved ones from me. The darkness is my closest friend. I'm sorry, I did not put on nearly enough black eyeliner to read this.
Darkness is my closest friend. Sunlight is my destroyer.
Wait, I need to be like cutting myself and listening to Coldplay. So that was fun.
I think there are definitely a few, I mean, at least to me, a couple interesting things. One, we already covered a psalm that was kind of similar to this, where it talks about, you know, oh, my life draws near to Sheol, and I'm about to go down to the pit. And, you know, they surround me like a flood all day long. From all sides, they close in on me. There was a psalm like that previously, and as I noted for that one, this one also shares some similarities to Jonah, because in Jonah's in his own little song of praise, he says stuff like this, almost exactly like it, actually. So this was a very common way to say that you were near death. And to me, all the interesting stuff was how they talked about death and Sheol, or the pit. So particularly stuff that I've noted here, you know, it's described as a region that's dark and deep. And in that region, the works of God seem to be unknown. And furthermore, there's no interaction with God in this darkness. Like the dead don't go up to praise him, they don't know his works, stuff like that. And then the psalmist's only friends are in darkness, because in that region, it's, you know, you're separate from God. And it's like, this isn't like, you know, hell as described in later years. This is kind of like this dark and dreary place where, like, there's nothing really exciting. Very, very much Mesopotamian in how they view it, where it's an extension of this life, but everything's boring and everything's dusty and shit.
It's very Land of the Dead, yeah, in the old-fashioned sense. But I also noticed signs of Job with the idea of the friends being repulsed by me. And also, it very much seems like he's bargaining with that. Like, I can't suck up to you and sing your praises if I'm dead. It's giving like a very barter for my life version of the city is made of brick, my lord. The strong make many, the weak make few, the dead make none. So if praise is in fact necessary to gods for some fucking reason, there's an indication that maybe don't kill off your worshipers. You might not get much worship that way.
Yeah, and I think you point out the parallel to Job, and you're definitely right. Even in Job 20:26, that total darkness is what's going to be reserved for the wicked and the faithless.
Mm-hmm. And that that lining of death and despair, this sense of struggling with that and begging for a way out, bargaining. You can kind of see all this, not all, but many of the stages of grief there. But yeah. And to be fair, we do need art for depression because that's a thing. And sometimes life sucks. And it sucks more if you're waiting for God to save you. I speak from experience.
Well, to be fair, life sucks all the time.
Yes, but it is worse with false hope.
You're such a ray of fucking sunshine.
I've seen that on a mug. I should get that.
Okay, so I'll read the overview. Although Psalms 88 is sometimes taken to be a psalm of sickness, or that the petitioner of the psalm is a very sick person who is near death, quote unquote, according to Krauss, Sebold, Gross, and Terrien, Zenger writes that if we recognized on the one hand the multi-layered character of the description of crisis, sickness, imprisonment, loneliness, etc., the overlay of metaphors on the one hand, one on another that results, and on the other hand, that this complexity is ultimately the depiction of what is fundamentally a situation of being threatened by death, then an interpretive narrowing of the situation to a severe somatic illness does not appear adequate to the text. He adds that in addition, the drama of the petitioner's contention with his God, produced by the artistic structure of the psalm, speak against the sickness hypothesis. Tate writes that the psalm may be classified as an individual lament, lacking some common elements, such as enemies, confession of guilt, direct petition for divine intervention, etc. He writes that while there is no difficulty in associating the psalm with serious and chronic illness, the metaphorical backdrop is wider than sickness, and can encompass any severe distress or life-threatening situations. Gerstenberger labels the psalm as a complaint of the individual, and while the fragmentary state of the psalm is uncertain, he takes the psalm as a complete prayer, with an initial plea and descriptions of praying substituting for the missing parts. Regarding the dating of the psalm, Terrien suggested that the disciples of Jeremiah, at the time of the agony of Judah, end of the 7th century or the beginning of the 6th century, may well have fostered such an anguished cry, not devoid of a certain black humor that suggests theological renewal. Gerstenberger suggested a pre-exilic dating, with a psalm being recited in prayer services outside the sanctuary. Tate notes that Albright found Psalms 88 and 89 to be, quote, swarming with Canaanitism, end quote, and may indicate an original date as early as David. However, Albright notes an abundance of Canaanite material in exilic and post-exilic books, and adds, quote, we cannot establish any definite correlation at present between the date of the psalm and its Canaanite content, end quote. Tate himself suggested that the period of the monarchy before 722 BCE seems to be a good guess, but adds that there is a long tradition of interpretation, found by Theodore of Mopsuestia, Theodoret, Targum, and Kimchi, which treats the psalm as an exilic or post-exilic prayer of the nation or of faithful Israelites. Likewise, Zenger writes that the psalm belongs to the pre-Hellenistic era, probably within the exilic or post-exilic epoch. I only have a commentary on the title, on the title itself. So, according to Machalat Le'anot, the meaning of Machalat Le'anot is unclear. Septuagint reads, over Ma'elath, in order that he be answered.
You said according...
Sorry.
You said... Oh, sorry, I thought you were quoting someone.
No, that's the...
Yeah, I thought you were saying according to this person, this is what it means.
No.
And I thought yeah, I get it.
No. So, Targum reads, according to the prayer to praise the good insight. Rashi suggested that this phrase indicates that the psalm concerns, quote, the one sick with love and affliction, for she is afflicted with the pains of the exile. She, referring to Israel, end quote. Hameiri suggested that machalat refers to an instrument which arouses concern and crying, quote-unquote, and le'anot means to hurt and shake the listeners. Ibn Ezra and Ditrani suggested that the psalm was composed to follow the tune of a song that opened with machalat, and that the psalm is meant to be sung, Hebrew le'anot. Likewise, Hosfeld and Zegger read, to be sung according to the mode sickness. Goldingay writes that the expression la'anot might refer to affliction by God, or by other people, or to self-affliction, or that the verb should be understood as sing out, or chant. I also know.
Steinsaltz
Sorry.
says, Steinsaltz has it like translates, I guess, la'anot as like replying, answering. And that it could be talking about like two groups singing at the same time. One says the first verse and then the next one like answers the next verse or something like that.
I should also know there is Tate notes an interesting theory by Golder, who suggested that machalat was derived from halal, to pierce, and referred to holes in the ground or apertures to pits. Compare Isaiah 2:19. He relates this to his theory of the festal rites at Dan, which included the taking of a priest or prophet as representative of the people to a pit or cave outside the city to cry out to Yahweh in laments and pleas during the days of the festival. He notes, of course, the pit language of Psalms 88, with references to water, darkness, and the distress of being in such frightening places. He thinks it likely that Machalat was originally the pit cave at Dan, where one of the streams of water disappears underground for some distance outside the southwest corner of the ramparts of the city. In this case, the meaning of the expression Machalat le'anot would have been something like the pit of lament.
The pit of lament. Well, I hope that's a figure of speech. I don't think anyone needs to go into a pit to lament, but...
We know about that. Golder says that when Psalms 88 was transferred to the Jerusalem community, Machalat was probably taken as appeasement, thus about appeasement or affliction, quote-unquote, and could, of course, have continued to give expression to rites of affliction and lamentations. And about a maskil of Heman the Ezrahite. Heman is mentioned in 1 Kings 5:11, which is 431 in the Old Testament, as one of the wise men during Solomon's reign, and in 1 Chronicles 6:18, which is 33 in the Old Testament, as one of the Korahites. In the first Kings passage, he is mentioned together with Etan the Ezrahite, and both are mentioned as being part of the Korahite Levitical singers, as in 1 Chronicles 15, 17, and 19. This attribution thus ties Psalms 88 with Psalms 89. Rashi, Kimchi, and Hameiri suggested that Ezrachi refers to Zarchi, i.e. from the sons of Zerach, as written in 1 Chronicles 2:6. Thus, Heman would be a member of one of the clans of Judah. Ibn Ezra, in his commentary on Psalms 37-35, took Ezrach to be a tree with many branches, and similarly, a person who has a large family is said to have many branches, and thus an Ezrach. He writes that Heman was a permanent fixture among the singers in the sanctuary, for most of the singers were Heman's children and grandchildren, as suggested by 1 Chronicles 25:1 forward. Targum reads Heman the native, reading Ezrach as native, found in Leviticus 23:42, Numbers 15:13, and Exodus 12:19 and 48. Tate notes that this reading is favored by Dahoud and Albright, who suggested that Ezrachi originally meant an aborigine, quote-unquote, and then from a pre-Israelite family, quote-unquote. And Tate comments, quote, the inscription is probably a double one, perhaps derived from two different sources, possibly indicating that a Heman psalm has been taken into a Korahite collection, regardless of the lineage of Heman. Golder may be correct to conclude that Ezrahite has been added to Heman in the title of Psalms 88 from Etan the Ezrahite in the title of Psalms 89. Since Heman is reckoned as a colleague of Etan, a link with the Korahite Psalms was provided for Psalms 89 by also designating Heman in 88:1 as an Ezrahite. Thus, relationship between Ethan and Heman as Ezrahites draws together Psalms 88 and 89, and both Heman and Ethan are identified as Korahites, though Ethan is from the line of Merari in 1 Chronicles 6:44, and is possibly the same as Jeduthun, 1 Chronicles 25:1 and 2 Chronicles 5:12.
So did you say that He-Man was a colleague of, who was it?
Ethan.
Ethan. Okay. And no mention of Skeletor?
No.
Sorry.
I was waiting for the Masters of the Universe reference. Oh, Tomer's mad at us. Tomer's mad. Come on, Tomer.
No, it's just no, it's just that the microphone decided to crash itself, so I had to reboot it.
Oh.
Fair enough.
So, Tomer, did any
I
of
need to
your
replace this. Yes.
did any of your sources, any of your commentaries, talk about how the Psalms have to do with metalworking, and how the different words in the titles refer to different programs that they were using to I don't
No.
know, fire up the
What?
chemical pits or something? There's someone in the comments who's been going on for like since the beginning of the show about it.
What the fuck? Is this a conspiracy theory I haven't heard of?
Yeah, so let me see.
Or is this a joke
the one that
about something like the He-Man reference?
I'm still confused why you guys look at the
God.
comments.
Yeah, there's something about like the word michtam has something to do with ketem, which is
Acoustic pacing programs regulate furnace temperature. Called michtam.
Okay. That's
Okay.
okay,
Um,
so
okay.
oh, is this one of there's lots of words that sound vaguely like something else, so this is a prophecy about our electric system because
No, I think this is
reasons?
more of like ancient people had advanced technology thing.
Oh.
That the
At
temple
least it's not ancient
was
Atlanteans.
was a you know, a programmable engineering facility, and the Psalms are like programs and stuff.
Right. Of course. Well, I mean, what else would it be, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because when you want to sing about something, you use metalworks or something like that.
Well,
And
yeah.
metalworking is, quote, how you make coins and process petroleum.
Which is obviously a very big concern in ancient Israel, is the proper processing of petroleum.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure. I guess. I wonder what Shir and Mizmor mean in this context.
You can email Gonna Go For It with a link to your Substack.
At least it's not Atlantean space Jews.
I mean, I shared recently on the Discord, I found someone who was promoting this idea of how to translate like theology, Kabbalah and stuff like that with mathematics, I think. I didn't even understand most of it. Tommy, did you have a look at the GitHub?
What GitHub?
I posted it in religion, I think. No, I posted it in
No,
philosophy.
Kabbalah
No,
always kind of about numerical, pseudo-magical synchronicities.
So in
and
Kabbalah,
whatnot.
you're gonna be Kabbalah does take gematria more seriously as well, but Kabbalah is a lot more.
Oh, you can do
involved.
that?
It's what?
Oh, I didn't know you could do that on GitHub. Like I usually do code there.
Just create an article. Yeah, you can do that.
I see.
Yeah, it's just an MD file. Yeah. So it was a whole thing about how like I don't even understand it, but people have interesting ideas, and you know, some are more interesting than others.
I mean, the weirdest idea I ever heard was Spirit Science's alternate history of the world. I recommend seeing Mortimer 81's breakdown of it, because if you try to handle that much stupid without ironic commentary, your head might explode like in Scanners. But it does involve space Jews and Atlantis and psychic conceptions of children. through mental something or other. Ankh is a sex act, and it's weird. It's just weird.
Okay. Let's get back to something very normal.
Yes, this would be much better.
Oh.
Oh, huge. Huge.
wow.
Deliver the Free sent 50 RN Raw gift memberships, which takes us up to, I think, is it 150 that we're up to now? Yes, 150.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Okay, and are we then moving on to the next chapter?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Isaac, you got this one?
Yeah,
Or is it
sure.
Tomer?
It says 89, right?
Yes, 89.
Yes, this one's pretty interesting. It has some very cool stuff in it.
Can we just jump up to 150 and get it over with?
No.
No.
Oh, I should. I do, however, have a little bit of a teaser for Proverbs. I bought this commentary because
Nice.
HCOT is not available on PDF or Logos. So fuck you,
Looks
Peters.
biased.
So fuck you, people.
No,
Peters in general.
The publisher.
Peters, the publisher, because they are.
Peter's the publisher, not Peter.
No,
I
but
mean,
also,
also,
yeah,
but-
fuck you, Peter.
Yeah, fuck you, Peter.
I'm used to it. They all want to.
Okay.
Psalm 89, a maskil of Eitan the Ezrahite.
Oh, sorry. Before we get into
I will
it,
sing of the.
let's
Wait.
just. So before we get into it, let's just
Yeah.
say, Tomer, I'm sorry that you spent your last $75 on that book.
It's okay.
Wow, that's.
I'm sure he'll have another $75.
Is
at
it
some
really that
point.
bad?
No, it's not. I mean,
it's
this
not-
is
it's just
generally the
expensive.
amount that I buy for books each month. So I think it cost like $93.
Wow.
At least you have a book budget.
See, if
Yes.
it was Brill, I would have said, sorry, you spent your last $350.
If you want to see what I spend my $90 on, check out the Discord food chat.
Excellent. Now read the psalm. Let's get out
Let's
of here.
go. A maskil of Eitan the Ezrahite. I will sing of the Lord's steadfast love forever. To all generations I will proclaim your faithfulness with my mouth. I declare your steadfast love is confirmed forever. There in the heavens you establish your faithfulness. I have made a covenant with my chosen one. I have sworn to my servant David. I will establish your offspring forever. I will confirm your throne for all generations. Selah. Your wonders, O Lord, are praised by the heavens, your faithfulness too in the assembly of holy beings. For who in the skies can equal the Lord, can compare with the Lord among the divine things? A God greatly dreaded in the council of holy beings, held in awe by all around him. O Lord God of hosts, who is mighty like you, O Lord? Your faithfulness surrounds you. You rule the swelling of the sea. When its waves surge, you still them. You crushed Rahab. He was like a corpse. With your powerful arm, you scattered your enemies. The heaven is yours, the earth too, the world and all it holds. You established them. North and south, you created them. Tabor and Hermon, sing forth your name. Yours is an arm endowed with might. Your hand is strong, your right hand exalted. Righteousness and justice are the base of your throne. Steadfast love and faithfulness stand before you. Happy is the people who know the joyful shout. O Lord, they walk in the light of your presence. They rejoice in your name all day long. They are exalted through your righteousness, for you are their strength in which they glory. Our horns is exalted through your favor. Truly our shield is of the Lord, our King of the Holy One of Israel. Then you spoke to your faithful one in a vision and said, I have conferred power upon a warrior. I have exalted one chosen out of the people. I have found David, my servant, anointed him with my sacred oil. My hand shall be constantly with him, and my arm shall strengthen him. No enemy shall oppress him, no vile man afflict him. I will crush his adversaries before him. I will strike down those who hate him. My faithfulness and steadfast love shall be with him. His horn shall be exalted through my name. I will set his hand upon the sea, his right hand upon the rivers. He shall say to me, You are my Father, my God, the rock of my deliverance. I will appoint him firstborn, highest of the kings of the earth. I will maintain my steadfast love for him always. My covenant with him shall endure. I will establish his line forever, his throne as long as the heavens last. If his sons forsake my teaching and do not live by my rules, if they violate my laws and do not observe my commands, I will punish their transgression with the rod, their iniquity with plagues. But I will not take away my steadfast love from him. I will not betray my faithfulness. I will not violate my covenant or change what I have uttered. I have sworn by my holiness, once and for all, I will not be false to David. His line shall continue forever, his throne as the sun before me, as the moon established forever, as enduring witness in the sky, Selah. Yet you have rejected, spurned, and become enraged at your anointed. You have repudiated the covenant with your servant. You have dragged his dignity in the dust. You have breached all his defenses, shattered his strongholds. All who pass by plunder him. He has become the butt of his neighbors. You have exalted the right hand of his adversaries and made all his enemies rejoice. You have turned back the blade of his sword and have not sustained him in battle. You have brought his splendor to an end and have hurled his throne to the ground. You have cut short the days of his youth. You have covered him with shame. Selah. How long, O Lord, will you forever hide your face? Will your fury blaze like fire? Oh, remember how short my life is. Why should you have created every man in vain? What man can live and not see death, can save himself from the clutches of Sheol? Selah. O Lord, where is your steadfast love of old, which you swore to David in your faithfulness? Remember, O Lord, the abuse flung at your servants that I have borne in my bosom from many peoples. How your enemies, O Lord, have flung abuse at your anointed at every step. Blessed is the Lord forever. Amen and amen.
Gay.
that changed what it was saying fairly dramatically, because this guy Ethan the Ezrahite was he the one you guys mentioned was associated with Solomon? Because it would be appropriate in the Solomonic court to praise David, because there was still, the meme of like, oh, obviously never praise, the king would never ask for praise himself, so you praise his father to praise the king, because, flattery is still a thing, but we don't want to look like it. But then it gets into, but you abandoned me and da, 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 and your vows and all this, and I'm like, whoa, that took a turn. So what is the context, liturgical or narrative context for this?
Well, a lot of this is very much, calling back to 2 Samuel 7, right, where there's the promise that David's line is going to be on the throne of Israel forever, the dynastic promise. And I'm sure you can already see how some of this was used for the Jesus stuff.
Oh God, yeah, of course.
He shall cry to me, you are my Father, my God, and the rock of my salvation. I will make him the firstborn, the highest of the kings on the earth. This is
well, and it's also kind of funny how the Christians used Jesus to make God not a liar about his promise to David, because in the promise to David, you will always have a man to sit upon the seat in the throne in Jerusalem. You will always, I will maybe chastise your descendants, but I will never dethrone them. That's obviously bullshit.
Right,
But then if we make Jesus a descendant of David, and then we say, but he is the eternal king and
right.
the magic, super imaginary king of everything and the power of Grayskull, then God isn't a liar anymore. Because Jesus is the eternal king, and thus he's always there. So God didn't lie. Totally. It's just magic and invisible.
Definitely what he meant. So there is so much stuff, especially in verses 5 through 12, especially in 5 through 12.
Are we going to mention the undying love for the guy and how your hand is with his horn and all that?
Dude, I love hands on my horn. Anyways.
Yeah, that was just experimentation. It doesn't count.
Yeah, and if you don't love him, you'll become the butt of your neighbors or something.
Oh.
Yeah, the scorn, I think my translation used. So in these verses 5 through 12 are like some of the most like callback to Canaanite mythology you could get. So you start, of course, with the heavenly council. A god feared in the council of the holy ones, the Kadashim, right? Which was a phrase often used for the divine council. I think some translations will use like saints or something, but it's not saints. You're talking about. I know. They're.
No, that's very much a later Catholic style inclusion. The saints.
Yeah. There is also, I mean, every scholar recognizes that these are heavenly beings that would later be interpreted as angels. But they were still they were definitely deities that were part of the Israelite pantheon. So you have here some hints of a chaos comp, for example. Because you have reference to Rahab, which is a cosmic sea dragon, the chaos monster. Then you also have reference to Yam, just the sea, the one that was destroyed and kind of pushed to the sides of the world, I guess, locked behind bars and gates with Marduk. Wait, no, not Marduk. Baal. Yeah, Baal was the in the Baal cycle. The watery chaos was Yam, and he was stilled, which is why like a lot of scholars think like in verse 9 you rule the raging of the sea. When its waves rise, you still them. So Frank Moore Cross, for example, he interpreted Psalm 29:10 and this verse here as enthronement over the sea. Some scholars do disagree about this one. So Carol Ecluse says that identification is, she says, quite arbitrary. But I think there might be something to it, because Cross makes a good point about an Ugaritic cognate, about the waves or the heights of the waves, meaning like the backs of the sea, which would be taken more literally and like trampling over them. Then you have also reference to to Zaphon and Yamim, which is of course here north and south, but it is interesting because it's paralleled with heaven and earth. So you have this kind of so this could also stem back to a chaos comp idea. And it's not just me who's saying that. So Nicholas Wyatt, he says, for example, that even though that it's understood as north and south, he understands them as Zaphon and Yam. So you have the Zaphon talking about the holy mountain, or as I've argued in at least in my capstone paper, that this would be this could be interpreted as just heaven. So the heavens and the waters. There's a classic threefold division of the universe here. You have Shamayim, Eretz, and Tebel, I think, where Tebel is the habitable world, and Eretz can also, in some contexts, Eretz can refer to the underworld, so like that's not out of question. And then Shamayim is the heavens. So you have this this threefold division, pointing back to their cosmology. So there, I think there's a lot of really interesting stuff in here.
I think the chaos comp and the mention of the sea and the idea that the chaos was in a sense a primordial ocean and that the subjugation of the waters is referring to something far more grand. It does bring context to what was most impressive in that area. And honestly, it kind of made me think of Jesus. I know, sorry. But because I've heard him referred to as a non-useless Aquaman. Because a lot of his powers are water-based. Water wine obviously is the shit and stolen from Dionysus. But the walking on the water and commanding the waves to shut up, I'm busy, and all this shit. So that imagery and the history of that imagery as being very a very powerful image of trotting the waves underfoot and making a reference to something that by that time may not have been a conscious part of the collective imagination, but certainly would have still been part of the, kind of the history of how their ideas got to where they were. I'm not sure how conscious any part of a chaos comp was for the average person at that time, but yeah.
Yeah, for the average person, it would have meant basically nothing, but...
Yeah, but it would still have influenced the language and the imagery for so long that it would kind of be imprinted in their consciousness in that way. Not necessarily that they would have dug out where it came from because they had shit to do. But,
Because they had shit to do.
Survival is a thing.
You've asked about the context of the psalm, if I remember correctly? Lilith?
Yes, I did.
So I do have Tate here, writes that the psalm probably reflects different contexts and may have been used on various occasions. The hymnic oracle material in verses 2 through 39 may have been derived from royal enthronement ceremonies in pre-exilic Israel. The psalm probably had a history of supplementary additions related to its use on different occasions. The lament in verses 39 through 52 was never an independent work and was intentionally designed to follow verses 20 through 38. Yeah. Okay, so I'll do the overview. Early scholarship determined that Psalms 89 is made of 3 different psalms, composed of a hymn in verses 2 through 19, a divine speech in verses 20 through 38, and a lament in 39 through 52. Some scholars have dated certain sections of the psalm to pre-exilic times, such as Albright, who assigned verses 1 through 22 to the 10th century BCE. However, the unity of the psalm is generally accepted amongst scholars. Terrian writes that the psalm's strophic structure suggests, quote, a magnificent architecture that fused elements of diverse origins in order to produce a liturgy for some festive ceremony. End quote. Hosfeld writes that thanks to the discovery of the internal interweaving within the psalm, recent exegesis tends to assert its unity. Tate writes that on the whole, the cumulative impact of the arguments for the unity of the psalm is considerable, and the treatment of it as an integrated unit in its present form is a sound procedure. Commentators try to find a specific historical situation in the psalm, especially considering verses 39 through 52. Tate notes that opinions vary from the time of Rehoboam, according to Delitzsch and Eerdmans, the crisis during the reign of Ahaz of Judah in 735 and through 34 BCE, according to Sarna, and the time of Jehoiachin and his aborted reign after the attack on Jerusalem by the Babylonians in 597. according to Klaus, Anderson, and Golder. Tate argues that Psalms 89 is probably either exilic or post-exilic, i.e. after 597 BCE, but more probably after 500 BCE. Hosfeld writes that Psalms 89 is the psalm of a scribal theologian who makes his chief concern the fate of the Davidic dynasty, and, beginning with the situation of dynastic discontinuity in which he finds himself, reminds God of the obligations God has undertaken, and by his accusations he puts God under pressure to act. Hosfeld writes that such a prayer is hard to imagine in ritually repeated services of lament in the exile or afterward. He writes that the particular characteristics of Psalm 69 favor a location after 515 BCE. And Gerstenberger comments, quote, "A historical situation cannot be fixed with certainty for the text. Communal complaints like Psalms 44 and 74 or the Book of Lamentations are often connected with the fall of Jerusalem in 587. Insinuations of concrete events, however, are rare in these texts, and they are insufficient to determine the date of text composition. Also, they would be of limited use, because the text was used and reused for decades or centuries, before becoming fixed canonically. The only thing we can say is that the final composition of Psalms 89 did happen well after the Babylonian conquest. But historical allusions have been digested, quote-unquote, by theological thinkers. And our psalm, with all its reflections about Israel's fate at the hand of enemies, is both a theological treatise and a piece of liturgy, probably part of meditative gatherings of defeated and dispersed people. Therefore, we should locate its social or ecclesiastical setting within the community, although direct evidence of a we group is scarce, verses 18 and 19 and 51a. Meeting or regular worship services offered occasions to read the vault. That's it.
Just so you know, your microphone got a little glitchy there for a second.
Did it?
It's okay.
Just a
I
second.
really need.
We were able to understand what you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, I really need to replace this mic and
Yeah.
the sound card in general, because it's like 6 years old at this point, and it means that it's ancient.
You know, to be fair though, I think the way that it sounded like more of an internet thing than a mic thing.
Possibly, but it's an issue that has been happening, and I probably need to replace it with a newer generation thing.
Oh, maybe. So, moving on to the next one.
Yes.
I'll be up to, what is it, 90?
Yes.
Okay.
And now it's my turn.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, we're in
So
book
I'll put
4
it
now.
here.
Yep.
And don't forget the fucking title.
Yeah.
Yes.
And make sure you include the Christian title as well.
I'm using the Masoretic text. I don't use a Christian title. You doofus. Okay.
Doofus.
Yes, he is a doofus and a bogo.
Such
and a bozo and a bogo.
True.
That's it.
True. I am a big bozo. I have the biggest bozo of them all.
Yeah, you see, he admits it. Okay.
I
So-
feel like people need to pick up the British habit of using random words as insults. You know what I mean? Instead of you have to use the same word that everyone else uses. You can make up your own. You know, you
I've
just
always
say,
thought daft prick was a nice one.
Yeah, but I'm saying just using a normal noun, oh, you're such a total trampoline or something like that. You know, you know.
What was wrong with wanker?
Wanker's good. I think rube. Rube is pretty good.
Yeah, it's just on the internet. Sometimes you'll see people come up with some brilliant ones, but then I never remember them. So whatever.
Okay.
Pants.
So,
yeah.
a prayer of Moses, the man of God. Mm. Oh Lord, you have been our refuge in every generation. Sorry. Before the mountains came into being, before you brought forth the earth and the world, from eternity to eternity, you are God. You return man to dust. You decreed, return, you mortals. For in your sight 1,000 years are like yesterday that has passed, like a watch of the night. You engulf men in sleep. At daybreak, they are like grass that renews itself. At daybreak, it flourishes anew. By dusk, it withers and dries up. So we are consumed by your anger, terror-struck by your fury. You have set our iniquities before you, our hidden sins in the light of your face. All our days pass away in your wrath. We spend our years like a sigh. The span of our life is 70 years, or, given the strength, 80 years. But the best of them are trouble and sorrow. They pass by speedily, and we are in darkness. Who can know your furious anger? Your wrath matches the fear of you. Teach us to count our days rightly, that we may obtain a wise heart. Turn, O Lord. How long? Show mercy to your servants. Satisfy us at daybreak with your steadfast love, that we may sing for joy all our days. Give us joy for as long as you have afflicted us, for the years we have suffered misfortune. Let your deeds be seen by your servants, your glory by their children. May the favor of the Lord our God be upon us. Let the work of our hands prosper. Oh, prosper the work of our hands.
So, something I like about this this psalm is how it was absolutely used to figure out like ages for the earth and shit like that.
Yes.
For 1,000, I think this is also taken up at least once in the New Testament. For 1,000 years in your sight are like yesterday when it is past. So one day is like 1,000 years or something like that, right? And then the days of our life are 70 years or perhaps 80 if we are strong. But this was absolutely used to come to conclusions about the age of the earth, because they would just count up how long everyone lived, and they would
I love when they try and use the 1,000-to-1 ratio like a math problem, as opposed to just a thing about, God's not exactly feeling constrained by time in the same way we are. Like, dude, what the fuck? This is not a week of days of 1,000 years of blah, 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 blah.
Well, the weeks of years, that's something else. But it is quite funny seeing this and the very literal interpretation of like this exact math that you can do for it.
Psalms. Even all the other shit they justify with bullshit insistence of taking things literally. Of all the books that no fucker should ever take literally, it's literally a songbook. This is where you metaphor. If you are the most literal-minded fucker in the world, you still metaphor in a songbook. Bitch. Yeah, Christianity has brought some really stupid people to the fore.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, of course there were arguments about, I'm sure you guys heard of 6,000 or 10,000, right? So they always give that range because, shocker, well, what about like the days before like the creation of man, right? Surely they're using God's time for that, so those are all thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to go. Oh God, what's the name of the guy that did like the initial calculation?
Usher.
Usher, thank you. Okay, I knew it started with the U.
James Usher, I think.
So I wanted to go over his work. I think that would be a fun one. But alas, I am not a mathematician, so I don't know how to do basic algebra.
Yes,
so
I'm sure you couldn't line up a string of numbers and add them.
No, I can't. No, I really just never learned even what a number is. So
I mean, it's not the only dating that that we have, for at least the suggested dating. I mean, we have like Yeah, I mean he proposed the date of 4004 BCE, but we also have Jose ben Haflata, who suggested 3761 BCE. Beat suggested 3952 BCE. And yeah, also Johannes Kepler, interestingly enough, and Newton.
Well, I finally have the advantage over Lawrence. He may be mathematically inept, so that he doesn't know how to alphabetize numbers, but I do.
Oh my God, no! Oh,
In
sorry.
which case 3 comes before 2.
I said Jose as it is Mexican. No, it's Josie ben Helpeta. It's just, I'm so used to doing Jose as Josie. It's really Josie ben Jalafta. Okay, yeah. He's a Tana.
Why are you saying Josie? You're saying Yos.
I mean Josie because it's the English.
Yosi?
Rabbi Yossi. It's Rabbi Yossi.
Yeah, Yosi. It's interesting because it's spelled differently than how you would spell like the nickname for Joseph that people use nowadays.
I mean the IPA has it's Yossi ben Halaftan.
Don't say.
What about
IPA.
the India Pale Ale? What?
See, I knew it. I was just like, don't say IPA, otherwise Arn's gonna get excited. I fucking knew this would happen. I knew it.
Yes. No, it's international pronunciation of ancient alphabet.
Yosi.
And I don't get
so-
excited over IPAs. I do not drink IPAs. They are quite the opposite direction.
I like
It's
IPAs.
true. You like a solid stout.
Yeah.
Oh,
Honestly.
I should troll you. I need to troll you people again. I missed that.
Yeah, all the best trolls have to say it. IPAs and stouts, I can't stand either one of them. Well, like, I just can't. Arn, I tried.
Yes.
Yeah, like you, there's some things, I mean, I wanted to like them and I tried to like them, just can't always.
Yeah, I don't really like beer at all. The closest is like a fruit beer, like a Belgian, like cherry thing or whatever it's called.
Ew.
They're pretty nice. They're not but they're not as bad as beer. Beer tastes wrong to me.
It tastes wrong. I like that. This tastes wrong.
It's got a
Okay.
certain like flavor that I guess most straight men haven't never tasted before.
Yeast. There's this Russian drink. Well, I think other nationalities also have it, but it's called kvass. Which
Yeah.
I hate kvass. Like if I wanted beer, I would just have a fucking beer. I don't need to drink something so fucking disgusting.
I am not familiar with this drink.
It's like non-alcoholic beer basically.
Ew.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, non-alcoholic fruit ciders are probably what I drink the most when I go to like a pub or a bar.
I
Like,
particularly
Record
like
Lang or
bourbon
Coca-Cola.
barrel aged. And one that I have in the house right now, as a matter of fact, I think I'm going to crack one open. It's got ancho chilies in it.
Mm.
Bourbon barrel aged imperial stout with ancho chilies. It's called Full Grown Hombre.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'll do the overview.
Yes.
Okay, so Psalms 90 contains elements of lament in verses 3 through 6, complaint against God in 7 through 10, and petitions to God in 11 through 16. Gerstenberger writes that the psalm contains traits of complaint and petition, praise and sapiential reflection, contest literature, and theological argumentation. He writes that if one considers a possible setting in early Jewish community life, all these indicators fall into line and support formal evidence of congregational use. He thus classifies Psalms 90 as a communal meditation. Tate notes that most commentators treat Psalms 90 as having two major divisions, verses 1 through 12 and 13 through 17. He notes that Gunkel took the first part as dealing with God and human beings, of matters which are of concern to all persons, while the second part is more characteristically Israelite, relating to Yahweh and Israel. Zenger notes that several literary critical observations speak against the original unity of the psalm, and in favor of seeing verses 13 through 17 as an expansion of a primary psalm, verses 1 through 12. He further writes that this wisdom lament over mortality is theologically related to Job, Proverbs 8, and Ecclesiastes, but precisely because of its theological option to reflect on mortality in the form of a prayer. It is in any case to be located earlier than Ecclesiastes. He writes that the period of the 5th or 4th century is a possibility. Gerstenberger writes that the time suggested by late sapiential terminology and outlook on life is the 4th or 3rd century, somewhere in the neighborhood of Job and Ecclesiastes. Therrien suggested that the affinities with Job might indicate the last years of the kingdom of Judah, and even the beginning of the exile, when the catastrophes of 598 and 587 prompted the survivors to reflect on the hiddenness of Yahweh. And Tate comments, quote, "The content of the psalm indicates long-lasting communal distress and need in verses 13 through 15, perhaps long and exhausting hardships from famine and disease. The speaker and the community appear to have lived close to death for an extended time. The communal distress is not specifically defined, but the scribal interpretation of the psalm as Mosaic naturally took the time of affliction and distress in verse 15 as a reference to the servitude of Israel in Egypt, which is reflected in the Targum for verse 1. Quote, "A prayer of Moses the prophet when the people of Israel sinned in the desert." End quote. However, the experience of exile after 587 BCE is much more probable. Wouter argues for a close relationship between Psalms 90 and the developed wisdom of the post-exilic period, and finds similarities between the psalm and the wisdom-inspired prayer in the Wisdom of Solomon 9:1 through 18 and 15:1 through 3. Mowinckel asserts that, quote, "Obviously the psalm derives from Jewish times, not from the earliest period." End quote. Von Rath is satisfied to assume that the psalm, quote, "derives from about the same intellectual and theological situation as Ecclesiastes," end quote, associating it with wisdom thought, and judges it, quote, "certainly post-exilic. We cannot fix the date of its writing any more precisely than that," end quote.
Okay, so as mentioned before, full-grown ombre, and it's got chocolate and vanilla and ancho chilies. Jet black, no light gets through. It's basically drinking a solid, and it's 12.1% ABV.
Oh, and I should also note regarding the title about a prayer of Moses, the man of God. This is the only psalm which is attributed to Moses, though Rashi argues that Psalms 90 through 100 were written by Moses, corresponding to the blessing of the 11 tribes in Deuteronomy 33. Yes, I see Lilith laughing there.
Was it now?
Oh my God.
Yes.
Rashi will fucking believe anything.
Yeah.
Which verse is that?
The first verse.
First verse, yeah.
Yeah. Kimchi and Hameiri note that Saadia Gaon interpreted to Moses, LeMoshe, as to the sons of Moses, Lebnei Moshe, who were Levite singers at the temple, based on 1 Chronicles 12:28. Jehoiada, chief officer of Aaron, with Aaron referring to the sons of Aaron. Although older commentaries have suggested a Mosaic origin, like Delitzsch, most commentators recognize that the attribution to Moses was done by a later scribal exegesis. Tate notes that earlier traditions had associated Moses with songs and poetry, seen in Exodus 15, Deuteronomy 31:30 through 32:47, and the similarities of language between Psalms 90 and the Song of Moses was probably the starting point for either the composition of Psalms 90 and or its assignment to Moses, who is further designated as the man of God, quote unquote, as we see in Deuteronomy 33:1, Joshua 14:6, and Ezra 3:2. He notes Friedman's opinion that Psalms 90 was composed with the episode of Exodus 32 in mind and, quote, imagined in poetic form how Moses may have spoken in the circumstances of Exodus 32, end quote. Hosfeld and Zanger note that the Mosaic attribution is also suggested by the semantic references to the Moses traditions in the Pentateuch, where Moses appears as petitioner, Exodus 32, singer, Deuteronomy 32, or liturgist, Deuteronomy 33, with verse 13 quoting from Moses' petition after the incident of the golden calf, Exodus 32:12b. That's it.
Okay, so is it back to me now?
Yes.
Nope, looks like it. Unless for some reason Peter wants to read.
I
Does
could
he
I
really
could
have the
read I
privilege
could
of
read a
reading the
message in
Bible?
the private chat, but I think Arn should.
Oh yeah, Arn definitely should.
Yes, Elira the Free sent 50 RN Raw gift memberships, bringing us to 200. Thank you very much, Elira. By the way, she wrote me another song, which I'm gonna put it in my next phylogeny video in the credits. She wrote me a bit of doom metal, and it's very doom, and I quite like it.
Me too.
Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So Psalm 91, assurance of God's protection, and the assurance is
not a title.
That's not the title.
Wait,
It's just a
Which
thing. It's just a
version is
thing
it that they mix it up
Christians
like
like
that?
that.
Tomer?
But they just, but did they
Calm
did
the
they
fuck
did they
down.
write it like in the same line? So it's
I
No.
don't have a title for 91.
No,
in
it's
mind.
always above. Like if there's an actual title, it's always above it. This is
Right,
like
but
the
it's
heading.
not-
it's not here. I'm on
Right, yeah,
Bible
this
Gateway.
one doesn't have it.
Yep, not here.
Bible Gateway is probably gonna mess it up. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. You who live in the shelter of the Most High, who abide in the shadow of the Almighty, will say to the Lord, my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. For he will deliver you from the snare of the hunter and from the deadly pestilence. He will cover you with his pinions, and under his wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness is a shield and defense. You will not fear the terror of the night, or the arrow that flies by day, or the pestilence that stalks in darkness, or the destruction that wastes at noonday. 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. You will only look with your eyes and see the punishment of the wicked. Because you have made the Lord your refuge, the Most High your dwelling place. No evil shall befall you, no scourge come near your tent. For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. On your hands they will bear you up, so that you will not dash your foot against a stone. You will tread on the lion and the adder, the young lion and the serpent you will trample underfoot. Those who love me I will deliver. I will protect those who know my name. When they call me, I will answer them. I will be with them in trouble. I will rescue them and honor them. With a long life, I will satisfy them and show them my salvation. Written by somebody who wasn't me.
Also, I
me.
mean, we've been over this a million times, but whenever he says, when they call to me, I will answer them. Bullshit. We already know that's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, have you read the book?
Right, yeah.
It's a whole bunch of not fucking that.
Not fucking that.
There is
Also, deeply unsatisfied ex here.
there are a few things. Hello, Kitty. There are a few things I wanted to note about this psalm. Come here, buddy.
And suddenly we had an interlude to Hello Kitty.
Yep.
Oh, you baby.
So one of the things I wanted to know first was that there's this context of war, right? like not only do you have like 1,000 may fall at your side, and
10,000 at your
will,
right hand, but it will not come near you.
God will deliver you from the snare of the hunter, shit like that. The importance of this, when we take into account in verse 4, he will cover you with his pinions, and under his wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness is a shield and defense. The shield also points to that kind of warlike imagery, but the reason we've talked about this before, right? But when it talks about under his wings, they're talking about the wings of the ark, which they would take with them in battle. So they are protected because they have God's presence with them in battle. And I gotta scroll down, Kitty. Hold on.
The wings of the cherubim thing. Oh, right. Look at the baby.
All right.
If it was a statue, it wouldn't have had cherubim, right?
Well, it would have had them on the. It would have been part of it. So, like, there are some that, like, if the some reconstructions that have, if the, like, the footstool would be part of it. That's the part with the wings. Or there are some that would have, like, the wings are surrounding the, like, you have the cherubim on each side of the throne, like one on each side, and their wings connect at the top and bottom of the throne, maybe. So, like, that's how I've pictured it, at least.
I mean, that's kind of how the Indiana Jones arc that we see, which is taken from the version in all the pictures, has, the angel's wings coming up. And you could, I mean, if they have 6 set of wings, they might have some behind and then down below and then up above. But they're touching, they're doing the covering thing. And there is also the imagery of a maternal bird, covering the young, and wings as a form of protection. And comfort.
And just kind of add on to that warlike imagery, right? The way that he speaks about the people beating their enemies is that, you will tread on the lion and the adder. Oh, come on, dude. The young lion and the serpent you will trample underfoot. That's a very common ancient Near Eastern way of depicting victory over your enemies. Just literally stepping on them, and not in a fun way.
Yes. This is not the kinky boots step on your face version of it. This is
right.
Crush the skulls of your enemies.
Right, and I guess with nothing else to say on this,
as there is clearly no commentary of any kind.
No, of course not.
Yep. Moving on to 92.
Yes. So, so commentators are not in agreement as to the genre of Psalms 91. The traditional rabbinic understanding of the psalm is that it is a song for evil encounters, quote unquote, as in Talmud Shavuot 15b, i.e., one that is used to avert the attacks of demons. Tate notes that this interpretation has been favored by several scholars like Briggs, Ostele, and with Krauss and Sebold taking the Psalms in terms of a testimony of a pious person healed for sickness. He notes that Movinkel combined the idea of defense against demonic power and refuge under the protection of God. According to Movinkel, the psalm has the form of a liturgy, spoken by a priest in response to a worshiper who has come to a worship place to pray to Yahweh, by a priest in response to a worshiper who has come to worship place to pray to Yahweh. Sorry, did I read? Sorry, I copied the line twice. Oh my God, worship, pray Yahweh, worship, pray Yahweh. Sorry. Response to worshiper has come to worship place to pray to Yahweh. Okay. For deliverance from life-threatening conditions. Schmidt took the psalm as a entrance liturgy, quote-unquote, addressed to pilgrims coming to the temple, and Delacat argued that the psalm is a priestly speech to someone who seeks protection for himself and for his family in the sanctuary from the onslaught of pestilence. Gerstenberger writes that the different interpretations point clearly to a local Jewish community and worship situation, where individuals found consolation in their distress. He writes that they were comforted by leaders or liturgists of the worship ceremony, in the name of the protective deity. He labels the psalm as a benediction preached to the community in worship. Zenger writes that the temple motifs that echo at a number of points in the psalm, as well as the shifting voices or roles, point to a background for the psalm in the temple liturgy, though opinions differ whether the psalm was created as a liturgical agenda or as a part of a liturgy, or whether it only imitates a liturgical ritual in literary form. While opinions vary as to the underlying ritual, such as a liturgy of the temple gate for pilgrims approaching the temple, or as a ceremony of blessings for the protection in the sanctuary and on the road, a choice between the two is not possible, given our lack of knowledge about the concrete form of liturgical ceremonies in the Jerusalem temple. That's it.
True. We can really only speculate about the actual ceremonies and the actual which psalms would have been used in them. I mean, sometimes we can make slightly educated guesses, but it's really not known. That was a big adjustment in learning to think when I understood like significant figures and scientists and how nothing is about 100% certainty. It's about we're this certain of this much, and this is our error margin. It's a more complex way to deal with reality, but it's far more honest.
All right, so I suppose I will hop into Psalm 92.
Please.
All right. A psalm, a song for the Sabbath day. It is good to give thanks to the Lord, to sing praises to your name, O Most High, to declare your steadfast love in the morning and your faithfulness by night, to the music of the lute and the harp, to the melody of the lyre. For you, O Lord, have made me glad by your work. At the works of your hands I sing for joy. How great are your works, O Lord! Your thoughts are very deep. The dullard cannot know, the stupid cannot understand this. Though the wicked sprout like grass and all evildoers flourish, lost my place. And all evildoers flourish, they are doomed to destruction forever.
Doomed.
But you, O Lord, are on high forever. For your enemies, O Lord, for your enemies shall perish. All evildoers shall be scattered. But you have exalted my horn like that of a wild ox. You have anointed me with fresh oil. My eyes have seen the downfall of my enemies. My ears have heard the doom of my evil assailants.
Certain doom.
Oh, God.
Just a quick question. After the Lord anointed his horn with oil, did the glory of the Lord come upon him?
Yes, he did.
By my hand.
Apparently they were practicing soaking in this.
Oh my God. The righteous flourish like a palm tree and grow like a cedar in Lebanon. They are planted in the house of the Lord. They flourish in the courts of our God. In old age, they still produce fruit. They are always green and full of sap, showing that the Lord is upright. He is my rock, and there is no unrighteousness in him. So aside from the sexual innuendos, it's interesting to kind of contrast this with some other psalms, because in those, like, one of the main complaints is that the wicked are the ones sprouting and flourishing. But here he's all like, no, the righteous flourish. About time.
It almost seems aspirational, though, because he does talk about how the wicked get away with all this shit, but no, someday the righteous will flourish, but it'll be real and very deep, and someday.
Yeah,
it'll.
If you noticed, the title is like a psalm for the Sabbath day, but there's nothing really about Sabbath.
The Sabbath, yeah.
Yeah. So the
and which day is the Sabbath day? Can we be conclusive on that?
Who is we?
Saturday.
All of us collectively. Can we agree on which day the Sabbath day is?
Saturday it's probably named after like the Saturn day, the day of Saturn, because I think that's called in Semitic languages, or Hebrew is like Shabsai is Saturn. And the idea that it's a day of rest was probably back etymology. I don't know what you call it.
I think it should be noted that the Septuagint has like some psalms dedicated to certain days of the week. So there could be, it could be a remnant of like, there are some psalms that are like for daily use or something like that. And even in the, I think in the Mishnah, they talk about certain psalms are related to certain days of the week.
Yeah, I mean, the traditional understanding is that this psalm is about the Messianic age, which is like Sabbath time, if that makes sense.
The Sabbath age.
Right.
The sabbatical age.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Because the wicked are finally overthrown, and then the righteous can flourish.
Yeah.
Which is,
I should also note that verse 13, which is 12 in the Old Testament, is kind of like a well-known like song in Israel. Like it's Tzadik Katamar Yifrach Yifrach Tzadik Katamar Yifrach Tzadik. It's like it's almost
song.
turned into a meme. Yeah.
I mean, it does sound very memey. I could totally see that. It does. Different psalms for different days. It very much gives Sheldon asking, "Where are your Tuesday underpants?"
So it should be noted the ancient Near Eastern context of verse 10 especially. Yes, it sounds like an innuendo, but you have exalted my horn like that of a wild ox. Because that is how you describe like someone's strength. Like they are if they are strong, they are a horn. Or they are an ox. That's how they would be identified. Essentially, a lot of kings were portrayed with helmets with the horns on them, or just horns. That was a very common thing. So,
yeah, oxen and
I know. Aaron's thinking of dicks. I know.
No. Somebody recently shared an image that I haven't seen in 30 some odd years. Somebody had a picture of me in my old battle armor.
Right, yeah.
Nice.
And it's got the
horns.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the horns. I was so happy to see that, because back in the day we cameras required film, and you had to go pay somebody to develop the film, and so we just didn't bother taking a lot of pictures.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that people want memorabilia, and it's good and all, but I like to see the world with both my eyes sometimes. Just like enjoy your existence and stop taking fucking pictures and not existing.
Well, no, but yeah, we're going back to the early 90s. So
I was there.
Yeah, no cell phones or anything like that. I mean, and I was delighted that there is a picture. There's one photograph out. Well, there's actually two, but I haven't seen the other one. I've seen one photograph in the last 20 years of my old 16 gauge steel battle armor and all of the stuff that I wore with that when I went to go fight. And it was nice that I can
That's awesome.
just show this is what the shit looked like. My helmet was like False Doom from Conan the Barbarian, except that I had horns mounted on the side, and they were mounted such that if I caught a shot to the head that knocked one of my horns off, I could just stick it back on.
Now that's just practical.
Yeah. Anyway, continuing.
Yeah.
Continuing.
So I should have mentioned it earlier, but I actually have to leave early today. I'm sorry.
And what is your bullshit excuse?
It's my boyfriend's birthday. So I'm taking him out for
he'll have
sushi.
other birthdays.
You have a boyfriend, Isaac?
I didn't know you had a boyfriend.
You never told me you were
every
gay.
time.
Yes,
what do you mean?
you
Aaron
did.
just announced it earlier.
I did?
When I finished the chapter that I read.
You did say gay.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
We all know that Isaac is gay, and we all love him.
Yep.
I just didn't know you had a
All
boyfriend.
right,
Isaac.
use a condom. Oh, he left. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Isaac. All right.
Yes. So the overview. No.
Yay! Okay,
Oh
so
my God,
the Free,
Alira.
another 50 RN Raw gift memberships, taking us up to 250. Thank you very much, Alira. Which, by the way, Peter, can we share something to her music? Because it's really good.
It is.
Do we have a link that we can share to people?
Every single time she gifts memberships, I'm posting a link to her channel and asking people to subscribe to it. So
Outstanding. And I thought because there's some people that just do AI to make music. But when I
need to
talked to
return-
her about the kind of music that I wanted, she says, "Okay, well, I'm going to need a whammy bar." I'm like, "Okay, so you're actually on a real physical guitar doing this."
Yes.
Outstanding.
Yes.
We're doing real shit. Fuck AI.
I need to return to
Fuck
recording as
everything
well.
about AI.
I released like 2 songs like 2 months ago, and I have like some songs prepared already, and I just need to record the vocals.
Nice.
Do you do any
But
doom
yeah,
metal?
no, I do folk. I do folk usually. Like
He's never listened to metal a day in his life.
I false accusations by a man who can't listen to 20 minutes of. Yes.
All right,
Lawrence
children.
listens
What
to
song
pirate
are we
metal.
on?
I do. I listen to pirate metal all the time.
I think we've
Is
already
it
confirmed that he
pirate?
hates 99% of music.
Yeah, that was a funny thing.
Yeah.
Lawrence was into this band called Ailstorm, and I was doing a speaking tour in Europe. And when I was in Northern Ireland, I was in Belfast, and there was very low turnout for the presentation I was doing. I'm like, "Well, where is everybody?" And they're like, "Ailstorm is playing tonight, right down the street."
Hell yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, you got
Too bad you,
got-
couldn't
you
have
got
put that up
mugged.
better. Yeah, have a chat with you and then go watch the show after. Like that would have been fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have been happily done that. Yeah, let's all go to Ailstorm.
God is a dick and also bullshit. Let's rock.
Yeah.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's really just you're doing your duty as an atheist. Now, go ahead.
Yes, for Psalms 92. So, Psalms 92 is generally regarded as a Thanksgiving psalm, with Zenger writing that it combines elements of the hymn, the Psalm of Thanksgiving, and the wisdom didactic poem. Gerstenberger writes that the introductory and closing lines, as well as the body of the psalm, reveal sapiential theology and Cultic vocabulary, concepts, and settings. He writes that the main problem of this hymnic prayer is the superiority of Yahweh, as recognized by the pious speaker and ignored by religious opponents. He therefore also labels it as a confessional prayer. Tate writes that the fact that only Psalms 92 is specified for the Sabbath of the Masoretic text probably indicates that its selection for this liturgical use was earlier than that of the other 6 days, being used with the Tamid offering on Sabbaths, or other Sabbath worships in the post-exilic temple in Jerusalem. The dating of the psalm is not widely accepted. Tate writes that an analysis in terms of the literary characteristics applicable to the dating of Hebrew poetry, frequency of Yahweh as a name for God, no prose particles, and the use of tricolons, indicates that Psalms 92 qualifies for a moderately early dating. He notes that the psalm is rather liberally supplied with conjunctions, which indicates that it is not of a very early date. He writes that it probably originated during the monarchical period of pre-exilic Israelite history. Tilian writes that if the exegetical suggestion that this psalm is a royal psalm obtains approval, then the date of composition may well be the time of Hezekiah or Josiah, 8th or 7th centuries. Gerstenberger, however, writes that the language, the concept of righteous versus godless, the complex literary character, etc., lead us to believe that Psalms 92 was composed late, perhaps in the 4th or 3rd century BCE. He writes that late dating would immediately mean that early Jewish community life, be it worship or religious education, was the original setting of the text. Likewise, Zenger writes that the psalm is on the one hand strongly infused with wisdom, but on the other hand, the pointed reception of motifs from temple theology in the psalm is surprising, as is the deliberate allusion to historical theological traditions. He writes that since the psalm as yet reveals no Torah wisdom theology, Edenic in the 5th or 4th century suggests itself. He argues that this is supported by reduction critical considerations, which reflect on the embedding of the psalm in the context of its neighbors. Krauss also favors a late post-exilic time.
So, unfortunately, I think I have to call it here.
Oh no!
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I got some stuff to do.
You don't want to let me
Yeah.
get through 93 with its whole 3 paragraphs.
We're not going to make it to
The thing
150
is-
today.
The thing is, I think Psalms 93, I have an extensive commentary on Psalms 93, and I would like
Okay.
Isaac to be here as well.
All right, so we'll
Because
start
I
with
think-
it next time then.
Because I think Psalms 93 is very interesting because like there are elements of it which suggest a pre-exilic dating, probably like 10th or 9th centuries, something like that.
Okay.
There's
it is
not
a
a
very-
lot of the Bible that is pre-exilic, is there?
No.
Not that
No,
much.
but-
There's some, but not that much
Yes.
comparatively.
Even a
Yes.
lot of the stuff that's like might have a pre-exilic source but still be a post-exilic writing kind of a thing. In any event, I get it though. We all have things to do occasionally.
Yeah,
Also, I have a visitor coming soon, so
yeah.
try not to
I-
talk
I
out
protection.
I'm
it's
gonna
my
be
sister,
doing a
you
fundraiser.
dumbass.
That doesn't change what I said.
I'm going to be doing a
Ew.
fundraiser online here in a couple of hours. So if you're familiar with the line, tune in for that.
Oh yeah, great.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I'm on from
Glad
5
to
to
hear.
5, I think 5 to 6 Central Time. A couple hours for that, and
Awesome.
then I will be in Las Vegas on Monday and Tuesday, most of Wednesday. I'm going to be giving an invocation for Clark County for on behalf of the Satanic Temple.
Excellent.
And I'm also going to be complaining at the city of Las Vegas because Sin City lied to the Satanic Temple about what dates were available, trying to make sure that they could not schedule an invocation for Las Vegas City. Sin
Oh
City.
my god, guys.
Sin
Your
City
Sin City-
lied. to
Know
keep
your
the
own
Satanists out.
branding. What? Look, I know they get way more evangelical money than anyone would admit because if there's something the evangelicals are ranting against, you can guarantee goddamn they're doing a fuck ton of it behind the scenes. But stay on brand.
I know, right? So my favorite Ozzy Osbourne video was, we reached the devil at his home in Las Vegas, and he said, "No, Ozzy's not my boy, but I love him like a son."
Aww. So sweet.
All right. Well, with nothing more to say,
Oh, I got plenty more to say, Aaron. Make sure to join the Discord, the best Discord, the only Discord, the Behold Discord.
Behold!
Tomer, you have to say it.
Behold.
Thank you. Thank you,
I
Tomer.
said it.
I know.
not a team player, that Tomer.
No.
He's sulky.
Then I suppose that's all the shilling I'm going to do right now.
All right. Good night, everybody.
See you next week.
Hasta la bye bye.